Welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and it's Tuesday, and I'm going to talk to you about a Song of Ice and Fire character / Game of Thrones character. I'm slashing the prices, and yeah, if you don't know what's going on, so I'll be talking about Salladhor Saan, and yeah, I'm talking about the difference. So here, I got a thing you guys can read, right? Can you guys read this? No, there you go. Yeah, so this is like for my normal videos, but yeah, so I'm talking about pause this, read this if you haven't. So I'm going to be talking about Salladhor Saan from Game of Thrones. So first I'm going to talk about the Saan family. Saan? I'll probably say Saan family, and that's kind of like his house. He doesn't have a house, but he has a famous family. And then I'll be covering 2 slides for the show, and then jumping into him from the books. And this is going to be a really long one. I got freaking 19 slides, so 18 if you cut up the thumbnail, which I keep showing you guys. There you guys go. So yeah, probably going to be pretty long. So let's not dilly-dally, and let's get into it. The Saan family. The Saan family is a Lysene line of Valyrian descent that have produced a number of famous pirates over the centuries. Saans have been distinguished pirate lords for at least 300 years, dating back to the reign of King Aegon the Conqueror. Yeah, for a while. Samaro, there you go. Samaro Saan, known as the Last Valyrian, was a Lysene pirate who became one of the infamous Band of Nines, the instigators of the War of the Nine Penny Kings. So he was one of the 9 Penny Kings. The Band of Nine were a group of merchants, sellswords, and pirates. He's the pirate who joined together to carve out a kingdoms for themselves. Samaro, oh my God, I can't say it. Saan was one of them, a notorious pirate from the notorious pirate family. So yeah, that's it. I only got that one to talk about. Yeah, but they're around. I just wanted to bring that one up. But yeah, cool. I love that they're Valyrians. So that's not really something you really get in the show because we're about to talk about it. But yeah, I think the Lysene pirate family is a great touch. So yeah, show Davos and Salla. I'll be saying Salla a lot for this. That's what I usually call him. So in the television adaptation Game of Thrones, Salladhor is portrayed by Lucian Msamati. Let's go with that. Msamati. Salladhor Saan is a pirate lord from Lysene, though a native of the Summer Islands. So we're already seeing a difference that doesn't really bother me, but yeah, he's a native of the Summer Islands, and then he's a pirate lord from Lysene. So I'm assuming in this world, in the show version, he's not, doesn't come from a big long line from this family, right? He commands a fleet of 30 ships that frequently prey on merchant ships traveling between Westerosi and free cities of the east. Sometimes in pursuit of extra wealth, he shifts from pure piracy to being a sellsail, like a sellsword, but a boat, hiring out services of his ships and crew size bidder to act as mercenaries for various conflicts. Davos and his son Mathos meet Saan on a beach nearby Dragonstone. Davos promises Salla he will be paid a fortune when they take the King's Landing. Salla is dubious of Stannis Baratheon's chances, but Davos claims that he's the most honorable man. Mathos calls him a pirate, and Davos is like, dude, don't call him a pirate. And then they talk about how Salla is hesitant to sell his sail for Stannis for only promises, right? Because he's not getting paid up front. How he's going to be, and how he has made it this long in life. He's like, dude, I haven't made it this long being an old pirate by, taking promises as payment. And also when Mathos, Davos' son, calls him a pirate, he doesn't get mad. Like Davos is like, hey, don't do that. And Salla's like, call me a pirate? I am. I don't care. Davos offers a better life, and Salla jokes about taking Cersei as payment. Salla claims that it will be consensual. He's like, no, I'm not gonna take her. She's gonna want to be with me because I'm awesome. And then Matos says some Lord of Light stuff, and Salla claims that the one true God is between a woman's legs. Salla agrees to sail with them. Later that night, Davos informs Stannis that Salladhor has agreed to join his forces. I'm going to say right now, if you haven't noticed, oh my God, did I say spoilers? Spoilers for the books and the shows. It was part of the card I put up if you paused it and read it, but I need to state it more for let's talk about the differences because I do spoil the show. Hopefully I didn't make it too far. I got to start remembering. Also, I was going to say, tired of filming this in the morning. I am pounding caffeine. I've been up for a few hours. It's like the late morning now, but I'm fighting the ums. So sorry if I come off so tired and I'm humming and umming and saying and stumbling and umming and stumbling. I like that. Umming and stumbling. So trying to fight it, guys. All right, cool. Show not his friend. After the Battle of the Blackwater, so we're skipping ahead, Salladhor's ship, one of Salladhor's ships rescues Davos, who was thrown overboard by the wildfire blast. Salladhor, who abandoned Stannis' cause after the battle, is very reluctant to take Davos to Dragonstone. He tries to dissuade Davos from trying to kill the Red Priestess, Melisandre, since she has sacrificed any man who speaks against her from Battle of the Blackwater. Davos insists on being taken back to Stannis' castle, and that Salladhor eventually agrees. Having returned to Braavos, so this is later on, right? He returns to Braavos after the failed exploits off the coast of Westeros. Salladhor spends his time with a couple of sex workers in a bathhouse. He tells them a joke about a brave ship captain facing pirate ships, but is not amused when they say the punchline before he delivers it. Yeah, everyone's heard that joke, Salla. He is surprised when Sir Davos appears and tells him that he will sail the Castle Black at sunrise. It's like, hey, man, you're going to have to help us. And the pirate begins to complain, but Davos throws him a package, right, of gold coins from the Iron Bank, noting that there is more money that waits at his home with his wife. Salladhor sarcastically declares that, contrary to popular opinion, Davos is not his friend. I mean, I feel like you don't have to state that. That's a little mean. Like, I don't just bring that up at work. Like, maybe these guys aren't really my friends. I just work with them. But I just, out of nowhere, I'm just like, hey, man, can you take care of this and this and this? And by the way, not your friend. Like, that's a little mean, right? All right, so that's it. So that was the last place we saw him in the show. Let's jump over to the books because, well, his appearance is different right away because, as we already stated, he is of Valyrian descent. So think of that classic Valyrian, right, of the silvery hair and the purple eyes, right, and yeah, fair skin. So yeah, Salladhor Saan, known as Salla to his friends and me, is a notorious Lysene pirate, sellsword smuggler, trader, and banker. He styles himself Prince of the Narrow Sea and is a descendant of the Saan family. I've said it probably like 4 ways already. Salla is slim and friendly with a streak of black humor of Mad Prendos, a pirate known for his black humor that Salla names a ship after. The fair hair of the spry old man has gone white with age. According to his friend Davos Seaworth, Salla has only has concubines, but the old pirate refers to them as his wives, both wives and concubines. Yeah, he's like, oh, my wives. It's like, you don't have any wives. One of his outfits includes a flashing cloth of silver that, with dragged sleeves pulling to the floor, his buttons are monkeys of a jade or carved jade, and atop his wispy white curls, a janty green cap decorated with a fan of peacock feathers. That's really cool. And that's probably the picture we're looking at right now. Another outfit includes wine-colored tunic and high boots of bleached white leather inlaid with silver scroll work. Cool. Besides his ship Valyrian, Salla commands a fleet of 24 striped galleys. So yeah, he also dresses to the nines, this guy. He's like that kind of a pirate. He like dresses up like very flamboyant-y. Like he's very, right? That's what when I want to do a flamboyant pirate, I'm like, I'm a flamboyant pirate. That's my impression of it. All right, so on Dragonstone, so let's jump into the story. Salla is one of the mercenaries pledged to Stannis when he plans to take the Iron Throne. His ships patrol the water outside of Dragonstone before his knighthood. Before his knighthood, I'm saying but Stannis had often bought cargoes from Salla. I don't know why I didn't say Stannis there. Or not Stannis, sorry. Before his knighthood, Davos had often bought cargoes from Salla, and it had been Davos who made the journey to Lysene to recruit the old rogue to Lord Stannis' court. So yeah, so I already said it all, but like Davos knew him from back in the day. When they're looking for ships, he goes and gets Salla, and now Salla, like throughout this chapter I'm about to bring up, which is the prologue to Clash of Kings, you see they mention Salla's ships patrolling the waters outside of Dragonstone, right? So that's what they're doing a lot. On the day that Maester Crescent plans to poison the Red Woman, Red Witch, whatever you want to call her, Melisandre, Stannis complains to Crescent that the pirate will be at supper that night with his latest tally of what Stannis owes him. Yeah, Stannis is mad. He's like, all I ever do from that pirate, the pirate just always complains about how I owe him money. Well, then pay him, all right? Jeez, he wouldn't be complaining if he paid him. He is present at the Great Hall, sitting with lords and knights, wearing scarlet satin, gold, and jewels, and he witnesses Crescent try and fail to poison Melisandre, and then he dies himself. Yeah, that's that whole prologue. Sad scene, but yeah, Salladhor is hanging out there. On the night that Melisandre burns the Seven, right, and Stannis enters the fire to drow to Lightbringer, Davos goes to speak to Salladhor in extremely crowded port. Davos enters a weathered little inn where he finds the flamboyant Lysene pirate, Salladhor Saan, eating grapes from a wooden bowl. So across the noisy common room, Salla beckons him closer, saying, "Sir Knight, come sit with me. Eat a grape or two." I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the accent. "They're obviously sweet. Is that what I'm going to do? All right. Davos asks if he saw the gods burn, and Salla says, "The Red Priests have a great temple in Lysene. Always they are burning this and burning that, crying out to R'hllor. They bore me with their fire. Soon they will bore King Stannis too. It is to be hoped." The pirate did not care if anyone can overhear him, which might be a little dangerous. You got to be careful who hears you talking crap about Melisandre, right? Because she is essentially a master of whispers, even though she doesn't have that title, right? Got any grapes? So he tells Davos, "My bird of 1,000 colors," which is a ship, "came in yesterday, good sir. What am I doing with this accent? She is not a warship, no, but a traitor." There you go. Now I got an accent. "But a traitor, and she paid a call on King's Landing. You are sure, or are you sure you will not have grapes? Children go hungry in the city," it is said. He dangled the grapes before Davos and smiled. Davos says that that he is here for news and ale, and Salla complains, "It's ale and news I need." Oh, so Davos said that. I don't know. Oh, God. All right. "The men of Westeros are ever rushing. What's good is it, I ask you? He who hurries through life hurries through the grave." He belched. All right. "Lord of Castle Rock has sent his dwarf to King's Landing. Perhaps he hopes that his ugly face will frighten off attackers, eh? Or that they will laugh themselves dead." Or, oh my God. I thought I could do this. I was complaining about umming beforehand, and then I started going to Salla's dialogue. All right, get in the character, Mark. Come on. All right. "Or that they will laugh us, or that we will laugh ourselves dead when the imp capers on the battlements. Who can say? The dwarf has chased off the lout who ruled the gold cloaks and put in place a knight with an iron hand." Yeah, he's talking about what's his name, Jacelyn Bywater. Davos asks how well the city is defended. The walls are high and strong, but who will man them? They are building scorpions and spitfires. Oh, yes, but the men in the gold cloaks are far too few and far too green. And there are no others. A swift strike like a hawk, plummeting at a hair, and the great city will be ours. Grant us wind to fill our sails, and your king could sit on the iron throne by evening fall on the morrow. We could dress the dwarf in motley and make him and prick his little cheeks when he points out our with the points of our spears to make him dance for us. Or mayhaps your godly king will make a gift of his beautiful Queen Circe to warm my bed for a night. I have been too long from my wives, and all in his service. So you're already seeing this conversation is basically. Sorry, I hope you guys know I add like all the dialogue now. That's why we have so much. But like this conversation is basically the one that Davos and Salla have in the show, but way less colorful. They do it on the beach and not in a big crowded inn. And yeah, but it's still kind of hitting the main points, right? So need gold. Let me get that cough out of the way. Davos tells him that he has no wives, only concubines, and that he has been paid well. Salla answers back, only in promises, good sir. It is gold I crave, not word on papers. He popped a grape into his mouth, and Davos tells him that he will have his gold when they take King's Landing, because there's a lot of gold in the coffers, he hopes. He says that no man of the Seven Kingdoms is more honorable than Stannis. And Salla says, so he has said and said, and so I say, let us do this thing. Even these grapes could be more ripe than the city, my old friend. Davos says that they could, but you need to worry about Tywin and Renly. And then, like, because he's like, dude, we can take the city, but then what happens? Like, Tywin's host is right there, Renly's host is right there. So he goes, yes, the younger brother, said Salladhor Saan. That part is not so good, my friend. King Renly bestirs himself. No, here he is, Lord Renly, my pardon. So many kings my tongue grows weary of the word. The brother Renly has left Highgarden with his fair young queen, his fellow lords and shining knights, and a mighty host of foot. He marches up the road of roses towards the very same great city we are speaking of. Davos asks why Renly would take his bride, but Salla doesn't know. He's like, I don't know, I'm not talking to him. Davos says that the king must be told, and he goes, the king must be told. I have attended to it, good sir. Though his grace frowns so whenever he does see me, that I tremble to come before him. Do you think he would like me better if I wore a hair shirt and never smiled? Well, I do not. I'm an honest man. He must suffer me in silk and samite, or else I should take my ships where I am better loved. That sword was not Lightbringer, my friend. Yeah, so he just like drops that at the end of this, right? He's like, well, he doesn't even like me. I don't like going and talking to him because he's always complaining about how he owes me money. Does he want me to look like a servant? I'm not a servant. You know, he's saying that. And then out of nowhere, he's like, nah, it's not Lightbringer. So the sudden change of topic, like completely throws Davos like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Lightbringer. So Davos says, sword? Davos asks him. Salla says he heard about it and that a burnt sword doesn't serve the king. Davos tries to correct him, saying that it's a burning sword. And Salla says, it's burnt. So I don't think everybody here knew this, but why is this video so long? Because right in the middle of a video about Salladhor Saan, I have the entire story about the creation of Lightbringer from Azura High. Because we get it from Salla. I'm not leaving that out, so let's talk about Azura High. Yeah, he says, burnt. And to be glad of that, my friend. You know the tale of the forging of Lightbringer? I shall tell it to you. It was a time when darkness lay heavy on the world. To oppose it, the hero must have a hero's blade, all like none that have ever been. And for 30 days and 30 nights, Azor Ahai labored sleepless in the temple, forging a blade in his sacred fires. Heat and hammer, fold in heat and hammer and fold. Oh, yes. Until the sword was done, yet he plunged it into water to temper the steel, and it burst asunder. Being a hero, it was not for him to shrug and go in search of excellent grapes such as these. So again, he began. The second time, it took him 50 days and 50 nights, and the sword seemed finer than the first. Azor Ahai captured a lion to temper the blade by plunging it through the beast's red heart. But once more, the steel shattered out and split. Great was his woe and great was his sorrow then. So he knew what must been done. 100 days and 100 nights he labored for the third blade, and it glowed white hot in the sacred fires. He summoned his wife Nisa. And he said to her, for that was her name, "Bare your breast and know that I love you best of all that is in this world." She did this thing, why I couldn't say, and Azor Ahai thrust the smoking sword through her living heart. Oof. His God. It is said her cry of anguish and ecstasy left a crack across the face of the moon, but her blood and her soul and her strength and her courage all went into the steel. Such a tale of forging of Lightbringer, the red sword of heroes. Now you see my meaning? Be glad that it is not the burnt, or that it is just a burnt sword that his grace pulled from the fire. Too much light can hurt the eyes, my friend, and fire burns. Holy crap. That was a lot. All right, so yeah, just boom, out of nowhere, like the creation of Lightbringer Azor Ahai story. And if you're looking for somebody to go through that, I'm not the guy. Go check out David Lightbringer. He made an entire channel. I know he talks about other stuff, but he talks about that a lot, especially the crack against the moon, possibly destroying one of the moons, possibly awakening dragons from a moon. There's all kinds of stuff from those paragraphs, and I'm not doing that here. I'm just telling you things that Salla said. So, yeah. I thought it was fun. I never get to just talk about Azor Ahai. So since I was covering Salladhor Saan, I'm like, I'll leave the monologue in. I could have just said he tells him the origin story of Azor Ahai, and then I moved on. But that's not fun. Now you know why this video is going to be so long. Salla finished his last grape and asked when he thinks he can sail. So when can I sail? Davos said that his God, when his God wills it. And he goes, his God, sir friend, not yours? Well, it is God. Where is the God of Sir Davos, Knight of the Onion Ship? Davos drinks his ale and thinks of a careful answer, and he says that the king is his God. The pirate got on his feet and said, I will remember. My pardons, these grapes have given me a hunger, and dinner awaits on my Valyrian. Minced lamb with pepper and roasted gull, stuffed with mushrooms and fennel and onion. Soon we shall eat together in King's Landing, yes? In the Red Keep we shall feast while the dwarf sings us a jolly tune. When you speak to King Stannis, mention if you would that he will owe me another 30,000 dragons come the black of the moon. He ought to have given those gods to me. They were too beautiful to burn, and might have brought a noble price in pentos or mere. Well, if he grants me Queen Cersei for a night, I shall forgive him. The Lysene swaggered out of the inn like he owed it. Ooh, that was one conversation. And I got a couple more. We're probably about halfway done. All right, let's move on. The Battle of the Blackwater and the aftermath. So during the Battle of the Blackwater, Salladhor Saan and his fleet stay in the Blackwater Bay outside of the Blackwater Rush, so the river, to keep watch for any hidden fleets that may sneak up from behind. The flamboyant Lysene princeling had not been pleased when he was assigned the rear guard, but it was clear that Emery Florent, the Fool of Florent, if you will, the High Lord Captain, sorry, that's his title, trusted him no more than Stannis did. So what I'm trying to say is during the Battle of the Blackwater, everyone goes up the Blackwater River, goes up to King's Landing, right? But but Salla stays in the bay and kind of doesn't go all the way up the river and kind of watches to make sure that there's no like hidden fleets that are going to sneak up, right? And he was a little offended by that, but what I'd say his name, Emery Florent, I think I have him on my list anyways, doesn't trust him just like how Stannis doesn't trust him. So Davos thinks that is a waste of Salla's resources, since Salla was a resourceful old pirate and his crew were born seamen, fearless in a fight. After the wildfire starts to burn ships, Salla's ships were not in the river or blocked by the chain, right? So other ships could escape or can't escape because they were blocked by the chain, but they weren't on the other side of the chain. So Salla's fleet almost doesn't get touched at all. After Stannis' army is smashed by the combined Lannister and Tyrell forces, Salladhor orders his ships to pick up the remnants along the shore, including King Stannis and Davos' son, Devon Seaworth, who I believe I've covered. I believe I have. Yes, I have. I'm now deciding now. I have. I'm pretty sure. Salladhor is made Lord of Blackwater Bay by Alistair Florent, a different Florent, who was handed the king and has control of Stannis' king seal after the Blackwater. He sets his fleet to intercepting any trade ships crossing the Blackwater Bay and taxing them for goods. We're going to get to that. Davos is washed up on shore of a small island among the spears of the Merlin King in the Blackwater Bay. When close to death, he is rescued by Salla's gallery, Shalea's Dance. He seeks to speak to Stannis, but is told by the captain of Shalea's Dance that no one speaks to the king and that he must talk to Salla first. So he goes and talks to Salladhor Saan. Let's get to that. So, Lord of the Blackwater Bay. Salladhor Saan was not aboard the Valyrian. They found him in another quay a quarter mile distant, down in the hold of a big-bellied Pentoshi cog named Bountiful Harvest, counting the cargo with 2 eunuchs. When he saw Davos, he stopped suddenly. So he does have dialogue I left out where he's just talking to the eunuchs. So keep in mind, I didn't say it, but we are now back on Dragonstone, but we're on like in a ship that's docked at Dragonstone, right? I'm pretty sure that's how I interpret it. So yeah, so big, huge cargo ship. When he saw Davos, he stopped suddenly and said, "Is it the pepper stinging my eyes, or tears? Is it the Knight of Onions who stands before me? No, how can it be? My friend Davos died on the burning river. All agree. Why has he come to haunt me? Davos says that he's not a ghost. I'm not a ghost. What else, my onion knight? Was never so thin or as pale as you." Salla gives him a hug and kisses his cheeks and forehead and says, "Are you still warm?" Wait, right? Yeah. Wait, yeah. "Are you still warm, sir? And I feel your heart thumpily thumping." Thumpingly thumping. Is it, can it be true? The sea has swallowed you up and spit you out again. Davos immediately is like, oh, like patch face? Like he has that. Davos explains how he survived. Salla tells the captain that they saved the captain that saved him, and says that he will be rewarded as the eunuch gets him a nice room, clothes, wine, olives, and cheese. So yeah. Yeah, that was, I worded that weird, but Salla turns to the captain of the ship that saved Davos, and he's like, "Oh, go and get a nice room and some clothes and some food," right? Oh, hi. So yeah, so no one speaks to the king. So no, I think Salla goes and gets a room, by the way. Yeah, that might be where, yeah, that's probably what happened, and some cheese. They speak of the Battle of the Blackwater. Salla explains what happened. Is that where I am? Yeah. Salla explains what happened to most ships. When Davos asks about a Lady Maria and the Wrath, which were the ships that Dale and Allard, his sons, were on, Salla puts his hand on his shoulder and gives it a squeeze. "No, none of them. I am sorry, my friend. They were good men, your Dale and Allard. But this comfort I can give you. Your young Davin was among those, who was among those who took off at the end. The brave boy never once left your king's side, so they say." Davos says that he must see him, and Salla goes, "Yes." and we will be wanting to sail to Cape Wrath, I know. See your wife and your 2 little ones. You must be having a new ship, I am thinking. Davos says that Stannis will not give him one, and he goes, of it ships, his grace has none. And Salladhor Saan has many. The king's ships burned up on the river, but none of mine. You shall have one, my friend, and you should sail for me, yes? You will dance into Bravos and Mir and Volantis by the black of night, all unseen, and dance out again with silks and spice. We will be having fat purses, yes? Davos tells Salla thanks, but his duty is to the king. Salla says that the king has changed and sees no one but her, right? Meaning Melisandre. Davos coughed. He coughs to this whole scene and asks if it's true. Salla explains, the gods keep away, keep all others away, even his queen and his little daughter. Servants bring meals and no one eats. Queen talking, I have heard of hungry fires within the mountain and how Stannis and the Red Woman go down together and watch the flames. There are shafts, they say, secret stairs down to the mountain's heart, into hot places where only she may walk unburned. It is enough and more to give an old man such tears, and sometimes he can scarcely find the strength to eat. So, yeah, he's like, dude, him and Melisandre are doing some crazy stuff in the bottom of the mountain. He doesn't go talk to anybody. Sorry, right? No true friend. Davos thinks that Mel sent the fires to punish Stannis for setting her aside, because kind of like before the Battle of the Blackwater, Stannis kind of like doesn't bring Mel with, kind of pushes her aside, and Davos thinks maybe that's where the wildfire comes from. So Salla eats it all of it and says Davos isn't the only one saying this kind of thing, but warns him not to say it too loud. Like, don't be talking crap about her. She's crazy. Davos says that he has a knife to cut out Melisandre's heart. Salla spit out the olive pit and goes, Davos, good Davos, you must not be saying such things, even in jest. And Davos says it isn't jest, and he means to kill her. I'm not joking. And then he goes, this is dangerous talkings, my friend. Salladhor Saan warned him, and he says that Davos must be sick and needs to rest. And Davos refuses and says that he will be leaving. Salla tells him that he is too sick and not to leave. There's like a whole thing. And Davos says that his bed and son are up and up at the castle. And he goes, and the Red Woman, Salla says suspiciously. She's in the castle also. Davos agrees. Salla tells him that he is an onion smuggler and knows nothing about assassinations and will be caught. Salla tells him about how Mel has burned Lord Sunglass and that they will burn him as well, just after he came back to life. Davos says that this is why he survived, is to kill her, right? Like, oh, the gods brought me back so I can kill her. He says that the mother spoke to him and sent the wind that brought him. Davos says that someone needs the killers. But Salla says that someone is not him. Like, oh, someone needs a killer, but not you. He says he is too sick and he begs him to stay. Davos says that his vengeance will not wait. In their friendship, for their friendship, he asked to leave. Salladhor Saan pushes himself to his feet and goes, You are no true friend, I am thinking. When you are dead, who will be bringing your ashes and bones back to your lady wife and telling her that she has lost a husband and 4 sons? Only sad old Salladhor Saan. But so be it, brave Sir Knight. Go rushing to your grave. I will gather up your bones in a sack and give them to your sons you leave behind to wear in little bags around their necks. He waves his hand at him, and Davos tries to talk to him, but Salla just goes, no, go. I don't want to talk to you anymore, right? So hand of the king. Alistair Florent attempts to have one of Salladhor's men transport a letter of terms of peace to Lord Tywin Lannister, but Alistair is in prison when the plot is discovered, and Florent is brought to the dungeons with Davos, who was in prison thanks to Mel seeing the plan of the flames. I kind of said that backwards, but keep in mind, this isn't a Davos plot video. It sounds a lot like it is because almost all of it's from the point of view of Davos. But keep in mind, I'm just trying to bring up when Salla is brought up, right? But right when Davos gets there, Mel already has seen in the flames that he wants her dead, so she has him put in the dungeons right away. And then because Alistair Florent tries to get Salladhor Saan to bring a letter to Tywin Lannister, Alistair Florent gets sent down there too. Axel Florent, so different Florent, brings Davos Seaworth before King Stannis Baratheon, taking the torch with him, and leaves his brother Alistair alone in the darkness of the cells. That's brutal. Stannis proclaims that Alistair will die for treason, and that he has Alex tell Davos of his plot that him and Salla, his plan that him and Salla plot to attack Claw Island or Claw Isle because Lord Adrian Celtigar knelt to King Joffrey. But really, they just want to do it because they knew that Adrian Celtigar is really rich, right? So Davos calls the plan a folly, and Stannis dismisses the enraged Axel, who's like, no, me and Salladhor came up with this. It's not a folly. So Stannis then raises Davos to Lord of the Rainwood, Admiral of the Narrow Sea, and his new Hand of the King. So in the Hall of the Painted Table, Salla tells Stannis that Robb Stark is dead. So now we're skipping ahead, right? Now the Red Wedding just happened. The Red Wedding, and these small folk are calling it. They will swear Lord Frey had his body hacked, or had the boy's head hacked off, sewed on the head of his direwolf in his place, and it nailed a crown about his ears. The lady mother was slain as well and thrown naked into the river. So yeah, this scene, it's like the chapter that starts with Salladhor explaining the Red Wedding. But it kind of branches off to a completely different conversation about then sacrificing Edric Storm to wake stone dragons, right? So that's, I'm kind of not bringing that conversation up, and I'm skipping over it because this video is already too long, and this is when Salla comes in. So Salla and Davos then talk. And when talking about how Mel wants to awaken stone dragons, Salla says, if the Red Woman brings them to life, the castle will come crashing down, I am thinking. What kind of dragon is full of rooms and stairs and furniture and windows and chimneys and privy shafts? Yeah, because the stone dragons is like the castle itself, right? So it's like, yeah, dude, what dragon is a castle is full of rooms? It's really funny. Davos asks if he has forgiven Davos for his treachery, and the old pirate wagged a finger in saying he has forgiven him but has not forgotten, since Claw Island would have made him very rich. Then he says, the Queen's men love you not, old friend. I am hearing that certain hand has been making friends of his own. This is true, yes. So yeah, they talk about Edric Storm, and then Salla shrugged and says, we shall be seeing, or you shall. For myself, I'm returning to the sea. Even now, rascally smugglers have been sailing across Blackwater Bay, hoping to avoid paying their lord's lawful dues. So yeah, he's like, I'm going to go back and start getting paid again. He slapped Davos on the back. Take care with your mute friends. Let me look at something real quick. I have just realized I had to pause it to look. I skipped over a whole paragraph like 4 slides ago. Oh, man, I am 40 minutes in and I do not want to start all over. So let's do a thing. Let's go back and I will explain where this takes place. So yeah, I confused myself when he's like, oh yeah, go and have wine and cheese. And then I jumped right to this slide where no one speaks to the king. But no, I skipped over that Salla appeared not long after Davos gets his own room, and he asks if he likes the big chairs, and he goes, how are you finding the excellent chairs? He has fat cheeks, does he not? And Davos asks who has fat cheeks, and Salla explains that he got the ship from a Pentoshi trader, Illyrio Mopatis, and the chairs who were made for him. He explains that as Lord of Blackwater Bay, it is within his rights to seize them. And he noticed Davos doesn't have his bag of finger bones. Yeah, I can't believe I missed that whole thing. So the whole conversation they had in the cog of the trader's cog right before Davos gets arrested for trying to kill Melisandre was in one of Illyrio Mopatis's like offices, and it had a big chair. Sorry, I don't want to go back and film the whole thing just because I missed that paragraph. I hope that doesn't confuse you guys too much. I really like it because it brings in Illyrio Mopatis, and you see that Salladhor Saan's like robbing Illyrio Mopatis, which is fantastic. Like it's within his rights, right? Yeah. So, anyways, sorry, I just realized that I skipped that paragraph and I went back. So where was I? We shall be seeing. Yeah. So he goes. Yeah, go back to Blackwater Bay, hoping to avoid the paying their lord's lawful duties. So that's what he's talking about. That's what made me remember that. It's like, because he's like pretty much robbing these people who are going by, but he's saying it's his lawful right, his lawful duties, because he's lord of the of Blackwater Bay. So he slapped Davos on the back and he goes, "Take care with your mute friends. You are grown so very great now, yet the higher a man climbs, the farther he has to fall." Then Salla leaves Davos and thinks that he doesn't need Salla to tell him that he rose too high. Davos is like, "Yeah, dude, I know I rose too high." Davos uses one of Salla's ships, the Mad Prendos, to transport Edric Storm to Lys without the king's knowledge, preventing Mel to sacrificing him and awakening the stone dragons. This is probably going to be my longest video I've ever had. All right, keep going. Going north, Salladhor's fleet helps to transport Stannis' army north to the wall, with Stannis at Castle Black. Salla is left at Eastwatch by the sea. Queen Selyse Florent feasts with Salla at Eastwatch before she heads to Castle Black. So now they are up at the wall. We are north now, right? He helped bring Stannis' army up to the wall, and Stannis brings, spends those last couple books up in the north, right? So he is left at Eastwatch by the sea. So his fleet of 29 ships set sail from Eastwatch to White Harbor to take Davos there as an envoy for Lord Wyman Manderly. So black skies, bitter winds, and lashing rains had hounded them the entire way down the coast. The galleys Orado and Old Mother's Son have been driven into the rocks of Skagos. If half of them were still afloat, Davos would be shocked. So I'm skipping over how a lot of them sank, but a lot of them sank. And then Salladhor says, "Stannis will be paying for them." Salladhor Saan has fumed. "He will be paying for them with good gold, everyone." And it is as if some angry god was expecting a payment for their easy voyage north. So what that sentence means is when they brought the whole army up north, they didn't have any issues. And like from Dragonstone all the way up to Eastwatch. But now they're just going from Eastwatch down to White Harbor, and they just got rocked and lost a bunch of ships. That's the first time Salla's lost any ships, so he's really pissed, right, throughout this story. Not the first time ever. Sure he has, but because he didn't lose any in the Blackwater. More ships get destroyed, and the rest of the Lysene fleet had been scattered across the narrow sea. Salladhor Saan had complained to Davos as the remnants of his fleet limped across the bight. Salladhor the beggar, that's what people will call me, Salladhor the smashed. Where are my ships and my gold? Where is all this gold that I was promised? Davos tries to calm him down, but Salla erupts. Yeah, it doesn't work this time. When? On the morrow? On the new moon? When the red comet comes again? Yeah, he's pissed. He has promised me gold and gems, always promising. But then this gold I have not seen. I have his word. He is saying, oh yes, the royal word, it is written down. Can Salladhor Saan eat the king's words? Can he quench his thirst with parchment and waxy seals? Can he tumble up promises into a feather bed and F them till they squeal? Davos tries to persuade him again, but it just angers him more. And further on, and he goes, on Dragonstone, I was patient. When the Red Woman burned the wooden gods and screaming men all the way to the wall, I was patient. At Eastwatch, I was patient and cold, very cold. Blah, I say, blah to your patience and bah to your king. My men are hungry when we are wishing to bang our wives again, censored, to count their sons, to see the stepstones, and the pleasure of the gardens of Lys. Ice in storms, empty promises, and these they are not wanting. The north is much too cold and getting colder. He refuses to take Davos to the White Harbor and not throw him over, but he doesn't want to throw him overboard, as he threatened. So Davos is set ashore of Sweet Sister with a rowboat. And yeah, Salladhor then goes onto the stepstones and engages in piracy. That's the end. That was a long video, and I messed up quite a lot. Sorry, guys. I hope you guys are okay with it. So let's get to our differences. Lots of them, right? You can already see there's quite a lot. So, well, there's many differences. So clearly his appearance is different, but that doesn't bother me. Yeah, it doesn't. He can be from the Summer Islands. It sucks that he's not Valyrian, because I would love showing on the show of that so much of the Free Cities have Valyrian descent, and it's not just the Targaryens. But whatever, like, that's a major problem in the show. It doesn't bother me about Salla. The conversations that they have are close, right? And I feel like he kind of gets his character across, right? I am helping you, but I would really like to get paid. You're not paying me. I'm going to keep helping you. Like, I think his character does kind of get across on the show, but he's just left out a lot of the scenes he is in, and he's really condensed. He's condensed into like 3 scenes. So since Davos never goes to White Harbor in the books, and he goes to Castle Black instead, the falling out at the end, it never happens. So he never ditches him in the bite at the sisters like he does in the books, right? And that's the biggest difference. Oh, and also, Salla gets paid. When he meets him at that bathhouse, he gives him gold. That never happens in the books. He's yet to get paid in the books. So that's the other really big difference. Whew, I'm going to end this before I talked for a freaking hour about Salladhor Saan. I hope you guys liked the video. Please click like, subscribe, do all that stuff if you want. And yeah, and share it. Try doing some of that. I never ask you guys to do that one. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. And yeah, peace.